Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Shupak, and I'm joined by Ray Clifford in Marysville, Ohio, of which soon I might be taking a trip out there to see Ray in person. I don't believe Ray has legs, so I want to go out and see. Anyway, it's Monday, September 20th, and we're recording this at 7:30. Ralph Schrager, I guess, is incognito somewhere. I don't know what's going on with Ralph, but he might show up. Ray, how are you doing?
Uh, Better than I was yesterday.
Yeah, it was
This time.
it was a tough one, and just full disclosure to the audience, I was at a wedding. I recorded the game, but my iPhone was blasting throughout the whole ceremony. I had to put it on silence because everybody was so upset after those first two interceptions. But I reviewed some of the plays. I couldn't sit through the whole thing. It was just torture. So Ray's going to look who's here. The one and only Ralph Schrager. There we go.
Here it is.
I thought we were losing the classic trivia taker. But anyway, Ray and Ralph saw every single play. They won't comment on every single play,
No.
but they will make a lot of comments. And we're just waiting for Ralph to come in. He's trying. Are you there, Ralph?
I hear him.
Yeah.
But while Ralph's getting set up, a little bit of housekeeping. The Jets, actually, he played yesterday, safety Adrian Colbert, and I guess he didn't do that bad. They signed him today to the active squad. I guess it was one of those deals where he was active, then right after the game, they put him on the practice squad, but they signed him right back. They released offensive lineman Isaiah Williams, and the offensive line we'll get into. They played a lot better. And on a Sunday where I got an email from someone that it was the most injuries ever in the history of the NFL. I didn't see a confirmation on that. But with that said, the only injury that we saw was Brandon Eccles went out, but I believe he came back in, and he doesn't have any injuries, and neither does any Jets. With that said, though, the Jets lost to the Patriots 25-6. And I hate those Patriots. You guys have no idea. I just can't.
I have an idea.
I can't stand.
I live up here tomorrow.
And Ray, Ray, I don't know if you know this though. The first round when we did the podcast, I believe BB used to watch our podcast like 8 years ago because Ralph used to come on and saying, "Don't be shocked if the Patriots come out like in the old-fashioned double I backfield." And I'm telling you, they would come out like that. It was like BB listened to the show. It was unbelievable. And they won every game. Ralph's giving a modest smile, but he knows it's true. Anyway, guys, 25-6. I want to talk about, obviously, the offense. Let's get right into that. Give me your thoughts, Ray. Give me your thoughts, and I'm going to hear Ralph's thoughts. Then we'll get into some depth on Zach Wilson.
Well, first of all, we won the toss, so we got to defer. And so we already knew New England wasn't going to get to do the score at the end of the half, come out, get the ball, score again, and, take a huge lead right after the half. So that was good. And then the defense showed up right off the bat. They made a nice stop. So I thought that was a good change. The offensive line definitely looked better. We ran the ball. I thought we would run the ball last week and we didn't, but we ran the ball this time. But Zach I don't know if he was so hyped up, he wanted to, impress the crowd and make everybody, psyched about him being there and the Jets being, a better team maybe and everything, or if the big stage was a little too much for him this time. I don't know. He didn't look right from the start. His first throw wasn't good. The second one went through Davis's hands. So I think Davis should have caught that, but it wasn't a great throw. And the other two picks were horrific. But we played better. That was a winnable game. We blocked better passing. While we weren't great in pass protection, but we were adequate. We ran, the run blocking was good. The defense was pretty solid considering, we gave up a short field there, especially in the first half. And so 16 of the points came off turnovers. When it was 19-3, 16 of the Patriots points were direct result of the turnovers. So that was a winnable game. I'm not saying if he hadn't made the turnovers, we wouldn't have given up any points, but it sure would have been a lot closer game and a lot more competitive. It just seemed like he was off the whole game. He wasn't even close on his short passes to guys who were fairly open. He was off the whole day. And I don't know if that was a mental thing and he just got down, or if he was just having one of those days and it was just that way the whole time. But it was a frustrating game from the standpoint of it was winnable.
Ray, we all know the record that BB has against rookie quarterbacks. With the 4 interceptions, do you think it was more of Zach Wilson forcing it in windows that weren't there, or was it BB's defense that was able to bait him, or could have been a combination of both?
I never got the feeling that it was really the defense that was rattling him, other than, pressure at the, in the pocket, maybe had him throwing the ball maybe sooner or not as well as he could have. But I never got the feeling he was, seeing ghosts, if you want to go there. I never got the feeling it was one of those where Bill was in his head and he wasn't making the right read. He just looked off. His throws didn't look crisp. They weren't. And I don't know if that was a snowball effect, but by the fourth quarter, he wasn't. He was missing everybody by a mile. So I just never got the feeling it was Bill playing with his mind, though. I got the feeling he was just off. That's the way it looked to me.
Okay,
Ralph. I don't know how Ralph saw it.
Ralph, your thoughts?
I thought he played great. And I also think that if Denzel Mims were playing and was active, we would have won that game.
That's a little shot at me. Thanks, Ralph. Go ahead.
There's no bigger Zach Wilson fan than me. But
Turn your volume up a little bit if you can. Go ahead.
There's no bigger Zach Wilson fan than I am, but how's that? He was terrible. I'd say the first interception, it was a misread. I think that I'll give that to Belichick. He fooled him. The second one wasn't a bad play. He threw it to a guy who was open, threw it a little high, a little hard, but I have no problem with that one. The other two, by that time he was demoralized. He was just like winging it off his back foot, and it was painful. And for the second week in a row, watching that team put me in a really bad mood, because last week, the defense was pretty good in the first half, but the pass blocking was so horrific that the defense just, never got a chance to breathe. This week, it was Wilson, and he was throwing picks, and they never got a chance to breathe. I blame part of it on LaFleur. You watch the way Belichick handles a rookie quarterback. He brings him along slowly. He gives him plays. He sets him up for plays that can succeed. Nothing too difficult. I don't know why LaFleur didn't script some plays for Wilson early in the game that would be successful. It's not that hard to do. They wouldn't be big yardage plays, but get him into a rhythm, get him a little confidence. I just think it was bad all around. I was really disappointed in their coaching staff too.
Ralph, did you see Robert Saller's press conference?
No, I couldn't watch anything after that game.
All right. He had made it a point that he said, Zach has got to learn that he's got to be a little bit boring rather than electric every play. And I spoke to Ray this afternoon because I said, well, who's calling the plays? Is Zach Wilson calling the plays? I don't know what that statement means. And I think you're right, Ralph, that they should have scripted the plays for him that would have put him in a position to succeed. Now, I said to Ray also, and again, he threw interceptions on his first two passes, but we've gone through 2 games, 4 quarters in the first half where we haven't scored a touchdown. I don't know how much of a blame we put that on Mike LaFleur, but I'll tell you this. And again, I couldn't stand Adam Gase, but if you remember, the best Jet drives under Adam Gase were usually the first drives, which he had scripted. Most of them ended up in a field goal. You know, we couldn't bring it into the end zone, which was a problem. But I don't understand what this Mike LaFleur is doing. I don't know if he's over his head. Ray, you think he's over his head, or you think he's just learning on the fly?
Well, probably a little of both. I think, you know, anytime you're a new coordinator, there's a learning curve for him too. But I think, well, we had talked earlier, and one of the things I said is that LaFleur probably should take a little bit of a page out of the, I don't know if you want to give it to Josh McDaniel, or if you want to give it to Belichick, but I don't think that of all his passes that Mac Jones threw a ball more than 20 yards the whole game that was caught. I know he tried one deep pass at least, but all his receptions were basically in the 10-yard or less range when they caught the ball. And he hit 70% plus of his passes. So it kept drives going. It just seemed like we don't run a screen pass. We don't run a quick slant. We don't run a little out at the sideline. We aren't doing anything to just let him gain some confidence. And I think that is definitely part of the problem. I don't think we need to throw a 15 or 20 yard completion every time down the field. And I'm not saying that's what he calls for every time, but it seems like that's where we're going. There's nothing short and easy. Everything's a longer drop back and a you know, looks like when he's under pressure there, he looked like he was heaving it up for grabs a couple times there.
Right. And if you look at the statistics, we outgained them on the ground 152 to 101. As a team, we outgained them passing 184 to 159. On paper, looking at the stats, you'd say, well, the Jets probably would win this game, but you cannot win in the NFL turning the ball over 4 times. It's just, I don't say it's impossible. It's almost impossible. Ralph, sticking with the offense, give me 1, 2, or 3 players that really impressed you.
Michael Carter made a few nice runs. He made some people miss. You know, the unfortunate thing was they couldn't establish. They were blocking well for the run, as you said, but they couldn't establish anything because he kept throwing picks, you know, and on the next play. And then another thing that was driving me crazy, and I'll try and answer your question, Marty, although I don't think I can because I don't think there were.
Could be one player. Michael Carter's fine.
All right.
If you want to add Braxton Berrios, it's okay.
Braxton Berrios
he's a good too.
Yeah, and his, you know, his kid is returning is really nice. He's a professional player. I like him. Another thing that was driving me crazy, and I know it bothered Ray too, because he texted me. It's like, I would say 50% of the quality plays that the Jets had got called back by a flag. I was ready to jump out a window. It was so ridiculous. I mean, they were throwing a lot of flags against the Patriots too. I think the officials were terrible, but the Jets, I mean, it just happens all the time. You know, I got to the point where I'm just watching that little thing on the corner, waiting for that flag word to pop up.
Right.
If we did something right, I was like, where's the flag?
Yep. I know exactly what you're saying.
And just real quick, for the record, I thought they blew a real quick whistle early in the game. I thought we had a turnover on the Patriots. Now, if you watch most games, that whistle, just because his forward progress had briefly stopped, I mean, literally the second they grabbed him, they blew the whistle. That would have been a fumble in about 80 to 90% of the other games. I thought they gave, and I don't think it was, you know, a call geared towards the Patriots. I just thought they blew a really fast whistle on that one, and we should have had a turnover. But, you know, it is what it is.
Right. just so everyone knows, Michael Carter had 11 carries for 59 yards. He had 2 receptions for 29. Braxton Berrios had 7 receptions for 73. He also returned kicks, I guess, 95 yards. Right now, Braxton Berrios has been targeted 18 times this year. He's gotten 12 receptions and he has 124 yards. Okay,
Elijah Moore went over Marty. So
yeah, I know that. I mentioned I was in the middle of doing the hora at the wedding, and I texted Ray. I got the over on that. I won that. I was in the middle of Hava Nagila. Anyway, let's move on to the defense, which I think there's a lot to really be proud of. And I'll tell you, I know it's not the right time to say it, but gun to your head, our defensive coordinator right now is outshining our offensive coordinator. And I was wrong. And I think if you guys admit, I think you were wrong. Go again, it's a small sample size, but the defensive secondary has looked terrific. They really have. That's been such a bright spot in the short season so far. And just so you know, and I got another text from someone, 3 cornerback units have allowed 0 touchdowns. Now, I don't know about that. I guess they don't include that pass from Sam Darnold as a cornerback mistake. But anyway, they said the Chargers and Raiders and Jets cornerbacks haven't allowed a TD, which is impressive. And another interesting stat, Michael Carter II has allowed, and this is from Next Stats Generation, 37 yards on 9 receptions, 4.1 yards per reception, which is right now, again, small sample size. It's best in the NFL among 68 cornerbacks to defend 5 or more passes.
He's been good. He has been good.
He's been good. So, Ralph, tell me, let's talk about the defense on the whole, and who else impressed you?
Well, my guy Quincy Williams, that guy's a hammer. I'd like to see him play more. He can hit, and I've seen it in the past. I've seen that. If you watch his clips, he does that a lot. The problem is his brother has not done a whole lot in the first 2 weeks. Yeah, which is really bothering me. I'm just hoping that it's a conditioning thing. You know, Rankins was pretty good. Franklin Myers has probably been our best defensive lineman for the beginning of the year. What's his name? Mosley was excellent. He is a terrific football player. I think he's gotten his form back, and I hope we don't waste his talent this year. But so far the defense has been okay. Now that one play where the running back carried us it looked like Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
I was just at one point toward the end, I think Bryce Hall tried punching him in the back. that didn't do any good. So that was bad. I thought that they lacked intensity right there, and that's a bad sign.
But was that the play right after the pick?
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, then you know that.
All right.
They're so demoralized. I mean, I can't. Not that I'm making excuses for them, but the way they've been playing. And it's funny because both of you guys said it in the first quarter. I was at that wedding. You both said that defense is going to get gassed. So these guys played great, and I'm going to give them a little bit of a leash on that. That you know, it wasn't entirely their fault because of the timing. Who impressed you, Ralph? 3 players on defense.
Well, let's see. What's it? Michael Carter, Mosley. And either Rankins or Myers, John Franklin Myers.
How about Marcus May?
Yes, Marcus May was excellent. I'm not a big Marcus May fan, but that was as good a game as he's played in a while. Yeah.
Okay. Ray, defense, who impressed you?
Yeah, Mosley, definitely. I thought just as a group, the defensive backs looked good. You know, Eccles wasn't bad. He went out injured but came back, so I was glad to see that because he's really impressed me. And yeah, I think Franklin Myers, but Quincy Williams, that hit that Quincy Williams put on that guy, I was like,
play that guy. He'll do more of that.
And even we didn't hear much from last week. Lawson had a few good plays too. He didn't do too bad. He showed up. So, the defense had guys making plays, not maybe always consistently, but guys making plays throughout. Take away that run, and
Yeah,
other than
I
that,
think I'm not going to take anything away. I'm really pleased with the defense, but
yeah,
Mac Jones is efficient, but he's really not very scary right now.
No,
Like
they didn't expect anything out of him.
Yeah, but we got to be pleased with the defensive backs. It's how ironic. That was our biggest concern. Well, I think linebacker toward
Yeah.
the end of preseason, that was our biggest worry.
Yeah.
And they're running a few guys. And now, did either of the rookies play much? Linebacker?
I don't know.
I
Ralph,
saw.
go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Ray.
think I saw Nazarudine in there, but I don't know if he was in there very much.
Delshorn Phillips played.
Yeah.
He actually had a tackle for a loss. I guess Bryce Huff was invisible.
I saw him a couple of times.
He made a couple of plays.
He got a little pressure a couple of times. I'd like to see Lawson get more pressure.
Yeah, we have to give. Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
He made some plays, cleaning up stuff, but I want to see him do the pressure at the beginning of the play, so he pushes the quarterback up into the pocket.
Javelin Guidry continues to play pretty good.
Yeah,
he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I thought all the DBs were pretty decent. Nobody was getting torched, that's for sure. Everybody was.
Their pass rush at the beginning, and what did they sack him 3 times in the first quarter or something?
Then BB benched that guy.
Yeah,
He put someone else, and that guy was awful.
But ironically, that's the one we caused the fumble on. He beat him so bad that when he knocked the ball out of his hand, it landed underneath the guy that got the tackle. so we didn't end up with the ball. But
Ralph, I wanted to ask you a question because I know he is kind of dynamic to you. You had mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, Quincy Williams. What was the reason why he really hasn't made it? Was it an injury or what? He was on.
I think he has had an injury.
He was injured last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
When he had played, he's been pretty good, and he is an absolute explosive hitter. It was so funny that hit yesterday was so typical. If you watch film of him, he does that a lot.
I just
I'd like to see more of him. I don't know if he's going to be how good he's going to be, but I definitely would rather see him than the rookies at this point.
Right. Okay. Quick question. I just want to ask you about the special teams. How do you think they did? But and again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But if things continue spiraling, when we get closer to the trade deadline, who do you think's more of a trade bait, Jamison Crowder or C.J. Mosley? Ray.
Oh, I'm not getting rid of Mosley. I mean, the defense, if we're going to turn this team around, they just got to stay with this defense. Now, Crowder.
He's 29. He's 29, though. I think they both.
I don't care. He's still playing at a level that's,
he's 2 years off, so he's got a little more spread.
I'm saying Crowder's got to go. If one of them is got to go.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't think they're going to get more than a 4th or a 5th for him. The way
Maybe
the season started.
Unless some team has a rash of wide receiver injuries and they're desperate. I mean, who would have thought we got a 4th for Herndon? Minnesota lost both their tight ends, so stuff can happen.
Talking about injuries, you see what happened to the 49ers backfield?
Mostert's out for the year.
They lost 3 guys in one game, and they didn't want to play him, but the only one left was Trenton Cannon. And
Trenton Cannon,
I thought he was on the Ravens.
No, he's moving around. He's doing the
all you got to do is get an eyeful of that guy for one day, and he's gone.
They didn't want to give him the ball, but he had 1 rush of -1. So that's the Trenton Cannon stats. And look, don't be shocked if in the coming weeks you see the guy I like, Josh Adams being moved for like a 5th or a 6th round pick to Robert Saleh's old team. He might want to help them out. Okay. Besides Braxton Berrios, do anything stick out to you guys as special teams at all?
Morstead was okay, for not having punted, and actually Amendola missed a kick, but he made the next one, and he looks okay. He's got a big leg. I like
53, it was a 50 plus that he missed, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was right in the 50. I think it was like 52, and he didn't
Yeah.
miss it by much. And it definitely
No,
wasn't
I'm happy with him, and
Yeah.
hopefully Morstead will. I mean, that guy has a pretty good resume.
He does, yes.
With kickers and punters, you never know from year to year. I thought, the returnable balls were good. I think, but Berrios is really good. I mean, he's just a good returner. I mean, when I watch that guy, I feel like he's got a shot to pop one every time he's got the ball. I like the guy. I'm glad he's on the team.
As you said, he's more quick than fast.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is great when you're a return guy, because those first few steps will determine how well you return the ball. Elijah Moore did okay. I just want to hear your opinions each on Elijah Moore. Ray, what do you think?
He made a few plays, but he hasn't done anything that really.
Well, he got open deep. Yeah.
Hey, I will say though, speaking of Berrios, that just reminded me, he had the catch of the game.
Yeah,
he made a catch at the
was
sideline
great,
with
yeah.
feet in bounds, and they didn't even bother reviewing it, but it did look close. And then they showed the replay. He made a great, like, spinning at the sideline, and his had both feet in bounds. It was nice. He had the catch of the game.
The thing about Elijah Moore is I think he would have had a good game, but like with everything else of the offense, there was no rhythm because he kept throwing picks, and he kept everything just kept falling apart. I think Moore, if assuming that he doesn't throw 4 picks every week, I think Moore is going to get more each week.
Right.
I'm happy with him.
I want to see him in space. I'd like to see Michael Carter, number 1, in space more often. And
that was a nice play they called, though, where they had Moore go around for the fake.
That was beautiful.
They gave it to Carter. That was a nice play. I wish they did, do a little more creative stuff.
Great misdirection.
Yes. Yeah. Now, again, I didn't see every play, but did they use motion throughout the game? Because that was the big knock on Adam Gase last year. He never used any sort of motion on offense. Did they put a man in motion a lot of the plays?
I don't say every play, but
No,
they did.
A fair amount.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the coaching quickly before we close this out as we enter the fourth quarter. Ray, your take on the overall coaching and offense and defense. Did they blitz too much? Did they not blitz enough? And again, on offense, let's talk about that offensive line. That is our favorite unit. Go ahead, Ray.
I think if you take away that 26-yard run where we missed 7 tackles and then he carried 4 guys into the end zone, you take that away, I thought our defense was very solid, especially considering the first quarter. They were on the field almost the whole quarter and at half a field, and they still held them to 10 points. So I thought I had no problem with the defense. I think LaFleur's.
Let me just ask you a question. Did Olbrich, did he blitz a lot, or was there any blitz effective?
There was some, and he actually got burned. They got burned on one, I remember.
Yeah.
But,
they brought everybody once, but it wasn't like Todd Bowles where, blitz, 60 or 70% of the time.
How often did Ryan seemed like he blitzed every play.
Well, Bowles, I think Bowles actually blitzed more. Go ahead, Ray. Go back to the offense on the coach.
LaFleur, I think, was the weak point on the offense because I think he's got like I said before, he should take a page from the Patriots playbook right now and let Zach get comfortable, just feel some confidence, some short throws, some easy throws, and work the field and just move the chains. Don't worry about big plays. I mean, it seemed like we're going for the big plays a little too much on passing downs.
Ray, who do you think are our best 2 backs for catching the ball in the flat right now?
I don't know if Ty Johnson's a great receiving back. Carter can catch, and
a couple this year.
And Coleman that's one of the reasons they had him here. As I said, he's a good receiving back, but he didn't seem to get a whole lot of playing time. So I don't know if that was a intentional or if there was something up with that. I thought we'd see more of him.
He started, right? Wasn't he didn't he get?
And I think either Carter or Ty Johnson was in there first. I mean, I don't remember seeing Coleman for a while.
So in summing up, Ray, and not to put words in your mouth, I think you would like to see LaFleur script more instead of medium to long passes, short to medium passes.
Yes.
More to the
Right
back.
now, and then take a shot once in a while. I mean, you don't have to do none, but get some rhythm going, move the chains, even, and don't worry about the big plays right now. Keep, worry about moving the ball and getting Zach confident.
Would a moving pocket be effective? I'm obsessed with the moving pocket with this guy.
I like Zach when he throws on the run, but not when he's running for his life and trying to throw it. And that seems to be more the case. They don't seem to roll him out much or anything. And I think that would maybe benefit him a little bit, but I don't know. I know that he's a good passer on the run, but it's not the same when you're running for your life and throwing and when you roll out intentionally. So I'd like to see the pocket move a little. I'd like to see a screen pass or something, or, it's just some quicker stuff, quick hitters. I want to see a little stuff just to keep, change of pace things. Everything, seems like in the passing game is down the field. And I don't think that's where we need to be right now.
Ralph, coaching, defense on the defensive side, then on the offensive side.
Well, I mean, I think I already covered the offense with LaFleur. Defensively, I thought they did a pretty good job. There was another play that I thought they got burned on was the seam pass to Hunter Henry. He was wide open. But few and far between big plays. Like I said before, Mac Jones is keeping it very conservative, or Belichick was. Offensively, I think they should run more gadget plays. I think they should do bubble screens. I think they do short drops. He keeps dropping him, seems like these 7-step drops, which puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line, and our offensive line is just not good enough. So I think you got to do things to offset the rush. I remember hearing Salas say there were ways, to offset the rush. Obviously, the screens and draws and swing passes and then short drops. And I haven't seen enough of that. It seems like every Wilson play, he's way back there. The plays take too long for that offensive line. And I think he probably was feeling a little pressure from last week. He probably remembered how he was harassed last week and he got a little rattled. It's unfortunate.
Now, I remember the first game, there were 3 tip balls at the line of scrimmage. Was that an issue against the Patriots? Do you remember?
He had a couple.
I wish we had more tip balls. Maybe it would have been less interceptions.
Well, back the line is okay. All right, because I'm a little concerned.
He did get a couple tipped. The interceptions got tipped.
Right. Yeah. All right, we're going to close this up, and we're going to have another podcast later in the
I just
week.
want to give you a quick trivia.
Oh, boy.
What's the record for most interceptions by a Jet quarterback in a game, and who did it?
I say Ryan Fitzpatrick. I say 6 against the Chiefs.
You must have just read that, right?
I didn't read it.
That's very good.
No, I remember that game.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
I'm just saying, what is going on? It was just like what Ray felt about Zach Wilson on the first 2 passes. Ray said, I don't know what he's doing. And on the 3rd and 4th, I was watching it against the Chiefs. I'm saying, what is he doing? Why are we keeping him in there? What is going on?
I got bad news for you, Marty. Namath did it 3 times, 6
Oh,
interceptions. Yeah. He's one of 2 or 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks who's thrown 6 interceptions in a game. Yeah. The other 2 are Eli Manning and Brett Favre. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we've got plenty of guys not far behind him. I mean, when Sanchez had 5 and
Richard Todd.
Right. Hey, listen, I want to give kudos out to the coach of the Ravens. I didn't stand for the game, but for him to win that game against the Chiefs with the amount of injuries that team has gone through, that's unbelievable. I didn't see the end of the game. I don't know if you guys did.
Well, some crazy scores here.
Yeah, but it's amazing. And it just shows you, as we always said, this is the sport where if you have good coaching, it comes through,
Yeah.
especially in close games.
I'll tell you though, I wouldn't mind the Jets losing a 31-30 game. I want something entertaining, I mean, they're
Yeah.
really boring now. I mean, I've been saying that for about 5 years now.
Yeah,
Let's just get entertained.
we're going to discuss it. This is going to be on our next podcast as they are going to go to Denver. All right, for Ralph Sharega, who's in Belmont, Mass., Ray Clifford in Marysville, Ohio, and Marty Shupak in Valley Cottage, New York, and Jets Rewind. Check out our website, jetsrewind.com. We have 3 technicians who are working 24 hours a day to make sure our depth chart and our roster is up to date, because as you know, it's always changing in the
By
NFL.
the way, later in the week for next podcast, we're activating Denzel Mims.
I had that on the agenda. I said, I better not bring it up. Ralph will hang up on us. No more Denzel Mims talk. It's just we're being a dead horse. Okay, for jetsrewind.com. Until next time.